and secure that faculty position? If so, this message is for you. My name is Dr. Ramon Goings, and I'm founder of Done Dissertation, and I want to invite you to our exclusive event called Design Your Done Dissertation. The purpose of this 5-hour virtual event is to help you design a dissertation plan that helps you finish your dissertation in months instead of years. So if you're not sure where to start, how are you going to figure out getting your dissertation done and to secure that faculty position, your consulting job, all those things that happen post-defense, you definitely don't want to miss this exclusive event happening on April the 10th. And here's what's happening at the event as well. Not only are you going to leave with a plan in place, but you're also going to get some hot seat coaching from myself. And then you're also going to learn from our current and former alumni clients about how they got through the dissertation process. So that not only are you looking at how to build your plan, but you're going to look at and envision what life looks like when your dissertation done. So here's what I want you to do. Click the link below or go to www.designyourdissertation.com to learn more about the event and grab your ticket. Your ticket is $49. Grab your ticket now before tickets are gone. Look forward to seeing you on April the 10th. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Done Dissertation Office Hours. It's good to see everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that doctoral students can write and defend their dissertations in 1 year or less. I just want to say thank you all so much. Today's topic, what we're going to talk about, is to focus on how I got through the dissertation process and wrote my dissertation in 7 months. And so, as always, if you have a friend that can get useful knowledge from this live today, make sure you share it with at least 1 or 2 people, just so we can spread the word. So I'll give you all a second to do so. Gather your friends, get your folks on, and I'm looking forward to talking with you all today. So if you have any questions about the dissertation process, what you're going through, we'll definitely be talking about those today. And this live today is sponsored by Design Your Done Dissertation, which is our upcoming 5-hour virtual event focused on helping doctoral students develop a dissertation plan, as well as learning how to implement it. And then during this event, you will also get hot seat coaching from myself. So if you'd like, I'll be able to dig deep and do a deep dive into your dissertation, kind of see where your barriers are and help you navigate those successfully. And then also you'll get to learn more and hear from our former clients as well as our current clients about their experience working with us and how we get them from ABD to PhD in months instead of years. So if you're looking for this, make sure that you go to www.designyourdissertation.com. And so with that, I'm going to share this out with one other group I typically share this with, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Shout out to Carrie on Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and pin this post and pin that comment. So thank you all so much. Again, send this to some folks that you know that can find value, that are trying to get through the dissertation, not sure what the heck to do. I want to make sure I provide some value and some support for you all, because this process doesn't have to take forever if you go about it in the right way. But I think a lot of folks decide not to. And we want to talk about some of the things that I found by doing this work myself, and then also helping others get through the dissertation process. So I'm going to share one real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and get into it for today. And real quick, if you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're seeing, drop your name in the comments so I know who you are, where you're coming from. If you're a doc student, let me know where you are in the process. If you're a faculty member, let me know. I just love to know who is watching today. And again, I want to say thank you so much for everybody who's supported, who's been sharing this stuff. I really do appreciate it, because my goal just overall is to help 1,000 doctoral students get through the process. So each share, everything that you all do really helps me get to that next point. So let me share this one time. Perfect. So today's talk, I want to talk about how I got through the dissertation process and how I wrote my dissertation in 7 months. We're going to talk about how I did it, and then also some of the downsides and some of the setbacks that I had, because those do happen. And if you're not prepared for those, they will get to you. And what I want to make sure is that you all have the strategy on how to navigate them. So first things first, like, folks often see what happens after the fact. They see I'm doctor, they see I've achieved these things, but what they don't know is the backstory. And I want to give you some of the backstory and then talk a bit about how you get through the dissertation process. And shout out to, we got Shaheen Hussein, who's one of my students at UMBC. Good evening. How long do you spend per day, complete the dissertation, and when? Shaheen, I will get to that question. Great question. We also have Kadara Harper. Thank you so much, Kadara, for joining in. We will get to everybody, definitely the questions. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're seeing this. So to back up, when I first got into my doctoral program, right? So in order to understand how I got through this process fast, you need to know about where I started from. When I first got into my doctoral program, I knew nothing about what it meant to get a doctorate. Let's just start there, right? I just knew that at the time I was a school teacher. At this point I was a middle school music teacher. And I just knew that in order to be taken seriously, I thought I needed a doctorate. And so I was pretty young, like 24 years old, 25, when I started my doctoral program. And I went into it thinking I wanted to become a school principal. And what I learned is that the doctoral journey actually prepares you to become a researcher and really have a different critical eye and become a more informed and research-based practitioner. And so when I was going through my doctoral program, I thought since I did well, my undergraduate degree, graduate honors, did great in my master's degree program, I thought I was a strong writer. But the fact was that I was indeed not a strong writer at all. Because on one of my first papers, and I always share this because people don't believe it, but one of my first papers, my professor, who actually I'm going to do a presentation with tomorrow, one of my first professors gave me back my paper and literally stopped writing on page 3 and put a big X through it and was like, "You're going to need to see a writing coach and editor in order to improve this." And I know for many folks I know for me, it was just like, "What are you talking about?" And what I like to do, because people don't believe me, I kept receipts. So I always keep my receipts as to what happened to me during this process. And so for my folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm going to actually show you the a screenshot of the first paper I wrote so that you can see what I'm talking about here. And so as you all see on the screen right now, my folks on Instagram, sorry, you're not able to see this at the moment, but I have a screenshot of my first paper that I wrote in my doctoral program. And as you all see, all that blue writing, this is a paper I wrote in 2011. They literally were just, professors just went in on my work. And I couldn't understand. I was like, why are they doing this? And if this happened to you, say that my professor got me in the comments, because I know it's just not me who has experienced this when professors are just carving up your paper. And so my folks on Instagram, I was going to show you real quick about what it looked like and what happened when my professor gave me back my first paper. And so again, this is what it looked like. All this blue ink, I just couldn't believe it, right? I went through my master's program. I went through, my undergraduate. I was a strong writer. And then I got to this point in my first paper. Oh, shout out to Alicia. You had this professor, so what I'm talking. I just couldn't believe what was happening in my process. And in the margin, what the professor wrote was, and he said was that you'll need a writing coach and editor in order to improve this. And when you get feedback like this, you have two options. Option one is that you let it just tear you down and you do nothing and you get really anxious about writing. Or you say, well, I'm going to figure out a way to figure this thing out and I'm going to improve as a writer. And that literally was what I had to do to get through this process. So that's what I did. Essentially, what I did is that my second year in the doctoral program, I just started reading. I started reading more, and I started reading not to read just for content knowledge, right, about my topic. I actually started to read for understanding how people wrote. I thought it was important because I didn't have that skill set. So literally, I was studying the craft of writing. I was highlighting phrases. I kept a notebook of phrases, sentences, vocabulary words, because my vocabulary wasn't strong. So I literally was going in the dictionary, looking up these words, because I was like, they were speaking a completely different language than what I'm speaking right now. In order for me to get through the doctoral program, I got to learn how to speak this language. And so I had to really break down and study it. That was the first step, right? But these are all the things I was doing during my coursework leading up to the dissertation. This is the back end work that you really have to start doing in order to be ready to kind of speed through the dissertation process. And I will say that if you're a doctoral student trying to get through this process without doing the reading, the process will be very slow for you. That is one thing as a coach that I can't help you with. That's something that your dissertation chair can't help you with, is what you read, because the reading is so critical to everything else. It's hard to write a dissertation. It's hard to even know what's happening on your topic if you haven't been well read in it. And so these are the things that you have to start thinking about early and often if you're trying to get through the dissertation process. But literally that reading was the first piece of the puzzle. So I started doing the reading. I started becoming more comfortable. But then from there, I had to start practicing my writing skill. So again, you just don't read and then turn around and write a dissertation. You got to practice the craft of writing. So literally what I would do is that I would use all my class papers as practice in order to prepare me for the writing I wanted to do with my dissertation. And it got to a point I started to improve, my second, third year in the program. When I came back to that professor who carved up my paper, by the time I got to my last year, I was at that point ready to start publishing. I had my mindset set on like, I'm going to nail this class. And I got an A in that class. And I really pushed myself because I wanted to show that professor, that I could get the thing done, even though they were very helpful over the course of the 3 years after giving me that big X on my paper and telling me I needed a writing coach. But see, this is the work that sometimes you all don't see happening with your favorite scholar, maybe happening with your professor. Maybe you're trying to figure out, how do I get to that point where I'm a quote, scholar? And it's all that pre-work. So sometimes it's like we get stuck on the end result, but we're not focused on the journey. And so as you're going through this, you have to become ultra focused on the journey. So, right, I started doing that. I got really good at my writing. So by the time I got to my dissertation, I passed my comps August of 2014. So as soon as I passed my comps, it was on to writing the dissertation. And this is what my process was. When I was writing my proposal, I did the proposal in about 3 months. And here's how. So with my chair, we would meet. And this is what I talk about in my book, 14 Secrets to a Done Dissertation. So if you don't have that copy of that book, go on our website, www.thedonedissertation.com, and grab a copy of the book. So in the book, which I outlined called my conceptualize, write, submit method, what I essentially would do is that when I would meet with my chair, we would say, for instance, on chapter 1, we met in August, and I said, Dr. Grosslin, this is what I want to do. We mapped out chapter 1. I went on to write. And what I did, I wrote consistently every day, 30 to 90 minutes. So it ranged because I still was a teacher for part of this time and I was transitioning into higher education, but I wrote consistently. Then from there, once I got my writing pattern down, the writing just got faster because, again, I was doing the reading already. I had already started to practice my writing, so I had the forward momentum. And this is what I find when you're going through the dissertation process and you're getting stuck. Oftentimes it's like, where's your momentum at? What are you doing? And then oftentimes we find folks that start writing, they're good for 3 days, they stop for a week, good for another 2 days, stop for 2 weeks. And that inconsistency makes it hard to get into the rhythm and the momentum. And so once I got into the momentum of daily writing, I was able to then really write pretty quickly. Because imagine this, say every day you sat down to write, you're able to write just 1 page. And let's say you wrote 5 days out of the week, say 20, weekdays in the month, that's 20 pages. That's a chapter 1 for a lot of dissertations, 20 pages. So literally you could write this thing in a month if you're just consistent with your writing. And that was what I did. I wrote chapter 1. It took about a month. After I was done with chapter 1, I submitted it to my chair for feedback. But then as soon as I submitted it to my chair for feedback, we were conceptualizing chapter number 2. And so I kind of mapped out what the chapter looked like. I outlined it out. For me, my outline process looks like headers. I didn't do a lot of just like minutia in terms of actually, bullet points and all that. I just had headers about what I wanted to talk about. And then I got to writing. So when my chair had chapter 1, I'm working on chapter 2. So now September's happening. I'm working on chapter 2. She's revising chapter 1. By the time she gives me back edits on chapter 1, chapter 2 is ready. I'm submitting chapter 2. And at that point, we're sitting down and actually conceptualizing chapter 3, the methodology chapter. So at this point, chapter 2 is to my chair for review. I have some revisions I need to make on 1, and I need to write 3. And so what I did first was like, I'm a believer in getting the low-hanging fruit. And so what I did is I ended up writing, I did all the revisions on chapter 1 first, because I thought I can get those done faster. Got those done, and then I turned my attention to chapter 3. Started writing that. Took me about a little over a month to get that chapter done. So right around November, by the time I did this back and forth, I had chapter 3 done. And so again, this back and forth with chapters 1, 2, and 3, going back and forth, the conceptualize, write, submit method with my chair was the way I was able to finish the proposal faster. And I think for those of you who are going through the dissertation process at the proposal phase in particular, it takes a while because you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what is going on in the literature. I hear a lot of students say chapter 2 is like something I just can't stand. I hate, and I want you all to start thinking differently about chapter 2. Is actually the anchor for you to get through this dissertation, because you got to be grounded and actually know what's happening in the literature first in order to know where to take it. And so I think that is really important, and how I kind of sped up through the proposal phase. But like anybody else, once I got to November, I had basically my proposal done. There was no way I was going to be able to defend before the semester ended. So for a lot of folks, that would just stop them. But I talked to my chair, had a conversation, and the conversation was, look, I know what I'm doing here. I really have a solid footing, My study is done. I know it's tight. The committee thinks it's tight. We just can't get it approved and defend it before the semester ends. Can I go ahead and apply for IRB? And so right around this time in November, it was like late October, early November, we actually started writing and I started doing my IRB, so the Institutional Review Board process. So if you're doing research with human subjects or confidential data, you have to go through the Institutional Review Board approval process. And so what I ended up doing was doing my IRB documents and getting that all done and submitting it to the university for approval. So by the time it hit late December, actually right before the new year, I remember I was in California, and right when we were in California, I got word that my study was a go and that I got approved by IRB. So based on, again, a conversation, this is why being in conversation with your chair and having a great working relationship is so important. They were like, all right, this is what we'll do. You move forward, you got the IRB approved, there's no need to sit on this. Go ahead and start to collect your data. We'll go ahead and you'll defend sometime in the spring semester, January, early February, but I want you to go ahead and collect your data. So I went out like a madman when I got back home, like top of January, like maybe the second week in January when school was back in session. I went back and started collecting my data because I was focused on college students. I went back and I collected data for about 3-4 weeks, just going straight. My study was a qualitative phenomenological study focused on the academic and social experiences of high achieving Black men who attended a historically Black college university. And so as part of my study, I was interviewing the young men about their academic and social experiences. And so I went on an interview spree and I was like, I got to find these folks. I got to reach out, find them on campus where I was doing the study, all these things and building that forward momentum. So by the time that I went to defend my dissertation proposal was in February 21st, 2015, literally by the time I defended my proposal, I had a majority of my data collected and I had I had some idea about what my findings looked like. Again, this is because I was forward thinking and I had communication with my chair who knew I was putting in the work. So this is not to say that this will always be the case. You'll be able to do this. But if you have a good relationship with your chair, they know you're moving forward. They know that you have put the work in. Any chair that is, has some sense, they'll be like, all right, let me go ahead and figure out a way to help support you get through this thing faster. And again, that's how I got through to the proposal defense. It took me a while because I was waiting for approval, but that never stops the show. And that's the key to the conceptualized write submit method is that you can't let any part of the process slow you down because there is always something that you can be working on. So if a chair has a chapter, you need to be working on the next chapter. If you finish all of your chapters, you need to be working on your IRB submission. If you finish IRB, you need to be working on your proposal defense slides. There is always something to work on, and it doesn't require your chair to be telling you what to do. I find a lot of students that don't take ownership of this document. And so one of the keys to finishing how I finished in 7 months, I stopped waiting for my chair to tell me what to do. I actually came to my chair with a plan. And those are two different ways. And that's a mindset shift you have to have. And that's from student to scholar is that, no, I'm taking ownership of this dissertation and this is how I want it to go. And I'm going to tell my chair what I plan to do and kind of have a conversation with them about it versus waiting for them to tell me what they're going to do. And so real quick, I'm looking at the comments and Alicia says chapter 2 is a beast, especially when your topic is one that doesn't have a lot of information. Yeah, Alicia, that is the case for a lit review. What I will say in your case, because I know your topic, I'm on your committee, it's just like you got to pull from different bodies of literature to make it your own. It's a problem, but it's not one that can't be solved. And actually, when you find this type of quote problem, it's actually great as a researcher because that means there's a lane for you to just start building your own line and body of research. So I think it's actually an opportunity that I don't want you all to forget about. And so real quick, before I go into how I started to speed up the process towards the end, I want to make sure that you all, if you're interested and you need support to get through the dissertation, I still want to invite you to our Design Your Done Dissertation event happening April the 10th. Make sure that if you're interested to learn more about the event, that you visit www.designyourdissertation.com. At this event, we're going to help you put your plan in place. Because remember what I said, in order to get through this process and make that transition from student to scholar, you have to start coming to your chair and committee with the plan versus waiting for them to give you the plan. And so if you don't have a plan, you're not sure how you're approaching this, you want to come to this event, Design Your Done Dissertation on April the 10th. There will be a replay available if you're not able to make it on live for this virtual event. So make sure you go to designyourdissertation.com. So, I got the dissertation proposal fairly quickly. I'm still working. By the time I went to defend my proposal, I had most of my data collected. And then by the end of the process, I started to figure out, well, what are the other keys that I needed? So me doing the work is one part, right? but you got to have a team together. I'm always a believer that you have to have a done dissertation completion team. And at our event, I'll talk more about what that looks like. But one of the pieces that was so integral to me finishing was my accountability partner. And who that is somebody in your program, or it could be somebody online as well. So you may have a Facebook community, LinkedIn community, Instagram community, someone that you can do this dissertation process with, because it can be very lonely and isolating when you're going through this alone. And so I want you all to be mindful about that. And so you need to figure out and find that person ASAP. And if you know who your accountability partner is, put their name in the comment, give them a shout out, because your accountability partner is going to get you through and push you at times when you feel like you can't go on any further. And my accountability partner is my guy, Dr. Larry Walker. He's a college professor at the University of Central Florida. And like, we went through our dissertation process together. We went through our whole program together. We're like, look, we're going to push each other to get out of here. And so what it looks like with your accountability partner is that they tell you information about the process. You tell them information. You all might read each other's chapters. You got to have that support network from an accountability partner. It's hard to do this by yourself. It's not, you can do it, but it's just that much more difficult by yourself. And I think you all really got to start putting that team together. And if you don't have your team, you don't know what those components are, I need to see you at our Design Your Done Dissertation event on April the 10th. Because that's all we're going to be talking about, how to put your team in place, how to put your plan in place so that you can execute. And our execution style gets you done in months rather than years. And if any of our current clients are on, they can tell you, we got a number of clients right now just sitting, waiting for a defense date for their proposal and for some for their final defense. Again, this process doesn't have to be hard. You just have to be mindful of how to speed things up. And so again, your accountability partner is so important to this. The second piece, which I keep coming back to, that got me through this process in 7 months, was this idea. I had to come back to my chair, and I had a working relationship with my chair. I see too many folks who have a chair and don't set up regular meetings, don't check in, and then they wonder why their chair is not really looking for them that much. Honestly, and here's a secret, and it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of being a faculty member. Faculty members have a lot of things going on as students that you don't see that goes on behind the scenes. So not only are they advising you, and sometimes depending on your university, you don't even get a lot of credit for advising doctoral students, but that's a whole nother issue, right? Not only advising you, they may have 4, 5, 20 other doctoral students. And again, it's not uncommon. A lot of these doctoral programs, we help them in our university partnership program all the time. And so there are a number of folks who have a high advising load. They still have to teach their classes. They still have to conduct research. So if they're maybe a pre-tenure faculty member at the assistant professor level, they're trying to do enough research to get tenure. And then on top of all that, they have service obligations to the university, to their discipline. And so they may be a journal editor. They might be on faculty senate, all these things, right? In addition, they still live in their life. So they got family, children, possibly spouses, family members, all those things combined. And I know you all as a student is like, well, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I need to hurry up and finish my document. But it doesn't quite go like that all the time. So I just want you all to be realistic about what's happening. But these are conversations that you got to have behind the scenes with your chair. And I see too many people not having these conversations and then throwing expectations on their chair that are unfair. And then you get frustrated when the chair doesn't meet your expectation, but you never had a conversation about it. Again, if you want to get to this process, talk to your chair early and often and talk about expectations. Because again, that gets you through this process. So that was a key. So my chair, Dr. Grosslin, shout out to Dr. Grosslin, who was really impactful in my journey. We had conversation about where I wanted to go, what I was trying to do, where I wanted to go with my dissertation, what I was working on. And then again, she will take her about 4 weeks to give me feedback. I'll be working on the next chapter. So again, these things never get in your way. And again, I'm always about staying ahead of yourself in this process. So again, I always stayed like one step ahead of my chair, just so that I never was sitting aimlessly in this process. And even as I talked about all the time, even when I finished my whole dissertation in March of 2015, I'm trying to hurry up and defend sometime in April. And the department chair says, you know what, Ramon, I like this, but I need you to go back and finish and do a number of revisions. And I couldn't turn the revisions around fast enough because they were some were substantial. And my faculty were leaving for the end of the spring semester. So I literally was sitting with a done dissertation in May of 2015, and I didn't defend until October 2015. So I sat for like 6 months. And I know for many folks, they'd be mad. And I was too at first, until I came to realization, like either, again, I got two choices. Either I get mad, I get frustrated, I get my feelings and do nothing, or I use this time wisely and I figure out other ways to stay ahead of the process. And so that's what I did. So literally what I did all summer long was I wrote for my dissertation. Remember, I got the data. I know the literature that is fresh in my mind. I've been writing this thing for 6 months, 7 months. Let me go ahead and start writing. So by the time I defended my dissertation in October, I had 3 pieces published. I was citing myself in my dissertation, and I had 8 pieces under review by the time I finished that semester finished when I graduated in fall December 2015. So I used the time wisely. And then also, which I recommend if you're trying to get a faculty position, is which is what we specialize in the Velocity Group Coaching Program. If you're trying to get a faculty position, you need to be applying earlier than when you're going to finish. So my first faculty position didn't start till fall 2016. And literally during fall 2015, right before I defended, I was writing cover letters for faculty positions. And I literally went back to that faculty cover letter that I wrote for my first faculty position. And I had wrote it. And in the letter, I said, I will be defending my dissertation October 21st, 2015. So I literally had the date in my cover letter that I was going to be defending. So I had written the cover letter prior to even defending my dissertation. This is something you got to start planning for right now. You're trying to get these faculty positions. Some of y'all are waiting too late in the game. You're waiting till like you're almost at the defense. Maybe waiting until, let's say, May, trying to get a position for, August. It's highly unlikely. There's opportunities, but it might not be the right position you want. But it's going to be very difficult to get a faculty position because of the way the market goes. So you want to be applying early and often. And here's what I was suggesting. This is what I did. As you're getting ready to finish up, if you're going to finish up, let's say right now, you should have been applying, back in November 2021, October 2021 for these positions that are going to start fall 2022. But if you're in this spot now, you may be on the next wave of faculty jobs that are some are coming out now, but then you might be on the next wave that starts, fall 22, and those positions won't start till, fall 23. So again, it's like a year cycle. And so you want to make sure you have your documents ahead of time. And so this is what I mean about getting ahead of the dissertation process. This is a key component to building your plan. But again, if you don't plan for these things, you'll become frustrated when, you see your friends with those. Right now, you're seeing them all. I know you're seeing them. Oh, I'm excited to announce I'm going to X university. Best believe that they had applied for that position probably back in September. They probably had a phone interview sometime October, November. They probably did an on-campus interview probably January, maybe mid-February. And now they're announcing their positions right now after negotiating. So it's just so many pieces to the puzzle, but you got to plan for them. And I find that a lot of students don't plan and they wonder why things are not going the way they want them to. And so literally those are the steps that I took to get through the process. First, I had to have a plan in place. I knew I wanted to finish my target goal was to finish in 2 semesters. So I started in the fall 1 semester. I wanted to finish in the spring of the next semester. But because of that, I had some wiggle room, and I knew I was going to take advantage of that time when I was waiting to defend my dissertation. So one, it came with a plan. Then I came up with a contingency plan because my timeline didn't go accordingly. So these are the things that you have to do. And what I will say is if you don't have a plan in place, I want to invite you to come to our upcoming event on April the 10th called Design Your Done Dissertation. It is a 5-hour virtual event where I'm going to sit with you and help you build out your dissertation completion plan. And so how this event will work is that first we're going to talk about how do you establish your done dissertation mindset. Because best believe that the dissertation process is more about mindset than it is about the actual writing. Everybody's focused on writing every day and doing all the writing. But if your thoughts and your mind is not right, it is very hard to get through the dissertation process. So first we're going to talk about the mindset you have to have to finish your dissertation in months instead of years. Because for many of you, if you've been going through the dissertation process for years, you have been put into a particular mindset at this point in time. And so we're going to break that mindset. That's step 1. Step 2, and then we're going to teach you our method and strategy on how to build your dissertation completion plan and how to put all of these components in place so that you can execute them. And then from there, during the event, you have an opportunity to get some hot seat coaching from myself, where we're going to talk about and do a deep dive on your dissertation for you to really look at this, look at your process, see what's happening, see what's going wrong, and see how we can help you get to where you want to go. And then lastly, not only are you going to hear from me, but I want to introduce you to some of our current clients as well as our past clients so you can learn more about the services we provide. You can learn more about the Velocity Group Coaching Program and how we get folks in and out of the dissertation process. So again, I can talk all day about how I do it, but it's not important. I'm just one person, right? I teach people how to do what I do, and I created a system to do it. So if you want to learn the system, you definitely want to come to this Design Your Done Dissertation event. And this event is only $49. And again, it's only $49 to come to this event. If you're interested, go to www.designyourdissertation.com to learn more about the event. Grab your ticket. And once you grab your ticket, you will get an email and a text about grabbing your social media badge. And so once you grab your social media badge, share it out on your social media that you're going to attend this event, because I want this to spread. I want other doctoral students to see it. And we want to support folks who are taking action and getting through the dissertation process. It takes a certain type of person to work with us. We're looking for people who want to execute. So if you're tired of being in the dissertation process and you want to execute and get out of this program, you need to come to this event, because I want to show you a method and way to first get your plan in place and then show you how to execute. So make sure that you'll come to Design Your Done Dissertation. You click the link at www.designyourdissertation.com. And so with that, I want to open it up for questions that folks might have, any thoughts, comments that folks might want to consider for this event. And this event's going to be great, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, this is 5 hours, like really just doing a deep dive on your dissertation. I want us to get, done and get you out of this process. And for my folks who, find that, April 10th doesn't work, grab your ticket and you'll have access to the replay. So you'll be able to watch this, and then you can watch all the components of the event, so you won't miss out. Any questions? Thank you for everybody who's been tuning in so far. I'd love to take any questions. Drop them in the comments, and I should be able to pick them up here on my screen. And again, you want to make sure that you don't miss out on the event. And I want to come back to Shaheen. I want to come back to your question about, how long did you spend per day to complete your dissertation and when? So it took me about 30 minutes to 90 minutes per day, depending on what I was doing. So for the first part of writing, I believe I still was a school teacher at that point. So I didn't have that much time. But once I really got into dissertation, I transitioned to a higher education staff position. So I had a little more flexibility in my schedule. But again, I carved out 30 to 90 minutes every day. And I used to keep a log. I got obsessive over the log. I used to keep a log about when I wrote, what time did I write, and how many words did I write in each section. And so that helped keep me accountable. And I was in a writing group at the time with some other accountability partners. And so we often would talk about, like, every other week about our writing progress. And we came up with this chart. And so those are the things I did in order to get through the dissertation process. So you can do it in very small increments. It's just a matter of being consistent. I have some school leaders that I work with whose time, if you know anything about school leadership, when you run into schools, like being a CEO, and they don't have time for much, and they're still carving out time that 30 minutes in the morning, figuring out 30 minutes in the evening, or even taking off every Friday to get extra time on the weekend to do the writing, maybe doing a staycation. All those things are really important to getting through the process. Any questions that folks might have, I'd be glad to take your questions. And again, make sure that if you're looking to get the support that you need to get through the dissertation process, make sure you join us at www.designyourdissertation.com. You definitely don't want to miss this event. Grab your ticket right now. And again, I see a lot of folks who have reached out to us asking, well, how do we work with you? How do we work with you? This is your opportunity to do this, because once we do this event, we won't do another event like this until late summer, early fall. So definitely, if you're looking to get your dissertation done and you're just tired of waiting and ready to move forward and execute and get the job done, let's go ahead and work together. Come to our event, learn more about what we do at the Done Dissertation, learn more about our system, see if we're a good fit for you. And if so, you have an opportunity to join us if you would like to do so and be part of our May 2022 cohort. And so any questions that folks have? Again, if this has been helpful for you and some things that you're thinking about, like creating your plan, share this out with 1 or 2 people that that can get value from this, because I want to make sure that you all get the support that you need to get through the dissertation process in the fastest time possible. And again, thank you to everybody who's tuned in. As always, I appreciate the support. Again, we've just been trying to consistently provide value for you all. So, we've been going at this, I guess, now for about 6 months straight. Really to providing every week, providing you all more value, providing you more insight about the dissertation. Because again, I truly believe this doesn't have to be a complicated process It's difficult to do, but it's not complicated. And I think sometimes as students, we overcomplicate this thing and it gets us stuck. And so my job as your coach is to help you get unstuck, break the shackles off of your mind so that you can do this work and flourish while doing it. And that's what I take pride in doing, making sure that you get to your dissertation in the quickest amount of time possible, because it's hard to see y'all spending thousands and thousands of dollars on your dissertation with no degree to show for it. It makes absolutely no sense. And I want you all to get through in the fastest time possible, because again, there's so many great things that can happen once you finish your dissertation, y'all. I just want you to know, like, I just had a conversation. Shout out to Dr. Isha Price, who is our alum. She just defended her dissertation last week at Rowan University, and we had an offboarding call today. We were talking, and she was like, "Oh my God, I got so much time on my hands." And it's like, yeah, you've been working so hard at this and being at it for a while. Now, when it's done, you got your time back. And again, time is like your most valuable asset that you have, because you can't replenish it. So I want to help you speed up the time to getting through this dissertation. So make sure that you do that. And again, shout out to Dr. Isha Price. We definitely want to celebrate you, because you persevered, got your dissertation done, and are going to do great things with the work that you have done. And again, those are the types of things we love. We love to celebrate our clients. There's so many folks. I got folks that's sitting right now in Velocity. If you all watch this, there's a couple of y'all just waiting to defend your proposal. A couple waiting to defend their dissertation. Like, the end is near. And so I want to help other folks get to that. So if you're looking to get the support that you need to get through this process, you don't have a plan in place, you're trying to figure out how to do these things by yourself, and you're going nowhere, make sure that you join us for a Design Your Done Dissertation event. You can go to www.designyourdissertation.com to learn more. The event's on April the 10th. Cost is $49 for your ticket. And again, that is nothing if the strategies that you implement get you done in months instead of years. Literally every semester, you're throwing at least $3,000 to $5,000 down the drain with no degree to show for it. So make sure that you join us on April 10th. I don't see any questions, so I look forward to jumping on with you all next week. We talk about something else with the dissertation process. If you have questions, as always, shoot me a DM, drop a comment. I'd be happy to engage with you. If you're not yet, you need to be part of our Facebook community. So if you haven't joined yet, make sure that you do. You can learn more about our Facebook community at www.donedissertationgroup.com, so that you get the support that you need. And next week, we'll be doing a private Q&A just for members in that group. So make sure, if you're not part of the group, make sure that you join. And again, come to our event, Design Your Done Dissertation. Look forward to seeing you all April the 10th. But until next week, I hope you all have a blessed week, and I look forward to catch you all next week on Office Hours. And again, I'm your host, Dr. Ramon Goings, founder of Done Dissertation, where we demystify the dissertation process so that you, the doctoral student, can write and defend your dissertation in 1 year or less. See you all next week, everybody. Hey, are you a doctoral student in ABD land trying to figure out how you're going to finish your dissertation and secure that faculty position? If so, this message is for you. My name is Dr. Ramon Goings, and I'm founder of Done Dissertation, and I want to invite you to our exclusive event called Design Your Done Dissertation. The purpose of this 5-hour virtual event is to help you design a dissertation plan that helps you finish your dissertation in months instead of years. So if you're not sure where to start, how are you going to figure out getting your dissertation done and to secure that faculty position, your consulting job, all those things that happen post-defense, you definitely don't want to miss this exclusive event happening on April the 10th. And here's what's happening at the event as well. Not only are you going to leave with a plan in place, but you're also going to get some hot seat coaching from myself. And then you're also going to learn from our current and former alumni clients about how they got through the dissertation process. So that not only are you looking at how to build your plan, but you're going to look at and envision what life looks like when your dissertation done. So here's what I want you to do. Click the link below or go to www.designyourdissertation.com to learn more about the event and grab your ticket. Your ticket is $49. Grab your ticket now before tickets are gone. Look forward to seeing you on April the 10th.